Welcome to Sewing Out Loud, the official podcast of Zede Sewing Studio. Here are your hosts, Zede and Mallory.
Sewing Out Loud. Hello and welcome to the podcast. I'm Mallory Donohue.
And I'm Zede Donohue.
A.K.A. Toothless.
Yeah. Bad news.
I got to take a picture of you.
Yeah, sure. I'm going to let you publish that.
Hey, what are you missing? Is that an eye tooth or a canine?
No, it's my front incisor.
Incisor,
It's next to my front incisor.
It's really cute.
Yeah.
She has a fake one, a spare. She says she lisps with it, so I get to look at her toothless face.
You don't have to look.
Actually, I can't because I can't see it. The pop shield's in the way.
The shield's in the way.
Thank
I
goodness.
should just walk around with the pop shield in front of me. It really feels like a huge hole. Well, you have spinach or chives in your teeth right now. So
really?
You're talking about me.
Oh, I made a really nice sound right then into the microphone.
Yeah. She's sucking her chives out of her teeth.
Okay. Well, it's me.
Now that you all have a mental picture of what we look like today.
Me and my toothless podcast co-host, okay? Today we're going to talk about how Zede's, or our fabric library, developed over time. Just trying to, I'm just going to we are in our studio. We record in our sewing studio. And I'm going to sort of go around the room. I might even leave the microphone for just a minute and point at things and be like, where'd you get this? and we'll talk about.
And I'm supposed to remember everything.
Well,
okay.
And talk about why you got it, maybe where you got it, what happened for you to get it.
What
and then,
phase of sewing I happen to be in at the time.
And why you're keeping it or what it's come back up and been useful for, right?
Okay.
Is kind of where I'm coming from here because I think that this comes up a lot in the group. How much fabric does everyone have, and how much do you keep, or do you only buy for projects?
And most people don't have 500 square feet in their home,
right,
dedicated to a studio.
Sure,
right.
So we thought we'd just dig into how this fabric library came to exist, and we thought you all might find it interesting. So, let's start off. I'm
with the bolts in the corner.
Yeah, the bolts in the corner. So things have been moved around a lot, as the shop has been moved to our home, to our studio, but quite a few of those bolts over there, and I'm talking long rolls of fabric.
She's not talking a flat bolt. She's talking a round bolt.
Round bolt.
Right.
They
5 foot high.
Range from, I would say, 45 to 60 inches in width of fabric. And there's a lot of dot sequin over there. And when I say a lot, I mean a bolt that it's the thickness of my hand. There has to be 30 yards of pink dot sequin right there.
Right there, yeah.
Yeah. What? Why? Why do you have that?
And the blue is gone, right?
Oh, the blue is gone.
I know.
Right?
I think I used the blue up.
And there's green and there's gold.
At one time, there was gold, green, pink, and blue.
Yes. Bolts of dot sequin.
Bolts of dot sequin.
Why?
Double bolt. 2 bolts of each, I believe.
Why did you have
Well,
those?
it started out as a show choir costume. I can't even remember which costume it started out as.
Right.
Because that number got nixed.
Oh.
Okay. So I had whatever it was, 300 or 400 yards of dot sequin.
Uh-huh.
I can't remember it at all. I can remember it getting nicked. What I remember most of it about it was, how am I going to store this?
Yeah.
Because dot sequins are plastic sequins that are glued on this, Lurex mesh.
Mesh, yeah.
Right? And I thought, can't store it where it gets too hot.
Because those sequins
or all
will
the dot
fall
sequins
off.
fall off. And I was pretty sure that, and now what you have to know is I ordered this wholesale, or I bought this wholesale. There used to be a wholesale. There used to be a supplier in Kansas City, and I used to drive up there, and I would just shop their warehouse, generally for shows, and then pack my car up full of bolts of fabric and come back. So you had to buy it by the bolt, and you could not take it back.
Right.
So
yeah.
I had these 8 bolts of dot sequin. And so I had to store them, and I had to decide. So they were in my own personal bedroom closet for a year.
Because to be temperature controlled.
Because I wanted them I was worried about them not being temperature controlled. and thinking I would use them again. And I did use them the next year.
Well, let's talk about this dot sequin.
Mm-hmm.
This is like a legacy here.
I'm trying to think. So this is Lindsay's sophomore or junior year?
Well, I know I have the gold dress, and I was like 10 or 11.
Yeah, that was well after this because Lindsay was a senior by that gold dress. So I had already
Oh,
made...
is that right?
Well, what I wound up making,
Mm-hmm.
using it for the next year, was Sam, you made the pants too long.
Yes.
I don't know if anybody knows that song, but you made the coat and dress fit the best. You made the lining nice and strong, but Sam, you made the pants too long.
There you go. Good job,
anyway,
Zede.
you can look it up on the internet.
Alexa will play it for you. I tried the other day.
Did
I
she?
played it for Jerome. So yeah. So that dot sequin though has been used. You kept it around. Are you glad you kept it around?
I needed to make long pants.
That's right.
So that year, it wound up actually going over the dresses I had made the year before. It worked out really well. We stuffed the dresses down in these long, what I made was like oversized overall pants.
Uh-huh.
They had big sequin suspenders, and they were too long, and they drug on the ground.
Right.
So I used quite a bit of it then, and I used 3 colors.
Yes.
I used the pink and the green and the blue that year.
Yeah.
And do you know, Lindsay got the solo in that.
Probably because her mom made the costume.
Well, no, that came first, actually. But she had the solo, and we went to Disney World, so she was center stage at Disney World with those Sam pants
on.
Yeah, and the girls loved the pants. They just absolutely. So it was an all-girls group, too.
Right.
So actually it had to be Lindsay's sophomore year then.
So this dot sequin has served so many more purposes.
Right.
And actually, I made you a bag for your B12.
You did. For my B12
We know.
syringes and vials.
So I'm supposed to give Mom her B12 shot every month. And I won't go into detail about what happened the other day because I know that some people get squeamish about that. But every time I'd go to give it to you, you'd be like, well, I got the syringes here and the B12 here.
Right.
So for 1 year for Christmas, I used Annie Soft and Stable and the dot sequin, and I made you this just huge
And it's bright
bag.
fuchsia pink. It's like really
Dot sequin,
yes.
and I was like, well, you can put everything in here. And you were like, this is really big. And I was like, I know.
But we'll find it.
Yes,
won't
and
get
it
lost.
was definitely too big for all the
Right.
materials needed.
But anyway, that dot sequin has served us well because then it went on to, I made the gold into another costume like the next year.
Yes, yes.
And obviously we still have some left over. Lindsay graduated high school in 2001.
Right.
So that dot sequin is 20 years old.
Yeah.
And we've stored it well.
Yes, we have. And it's still going strong. I mean,
yep.
we still use things out of it. So
We do.
let's move over to a different part.
Well, we could do a whole thing on dot sequin, I swear.
We did.
Right.
We've done a podcast
Oh, we
on
did.
dot
You're right.
sequin.
We
Yeah.
did. And how to sew it and everything. It's
I was
very
thinking
interesting.
we could do a whole podcast
Right.
episode on this corner.
You know what's funny?
of the
I'm
studio.
looking around and we have sequins in almost every corner of this place.
Okay.
It depends on what kind, but we've got them.
Let's talk about your little collection over here.
The black and white
Tell
collection.
us about that portion of the fabric library, that section.
That's my black and white collection.
Uh-huh.
I like black and white. I like beige and black or taupe and black, sort of. But it's mostly black and white. And it actually, if it's a black and white stripe, it gets to go there instead of the stripe collection. Yes.
So how many, talk about
How
the
many
dimension.
do you think I have?
Talk about how, because I think some people might be like, there's a little drawer of black and white fabric.
So it is 1, 2, 3. I guess it's like 3 shelves that are 4 inches.
4 feet.
4 feet wide. And about a cube because the bottom of it has some other stuff in it. So it's a rack, a metal rack. And all of the fabric is sushied up, and we've talked about how we sushi our fabric, which means that I have folded it and rolled it, and so it's in these rolls that are approximately 12 to 14 inches long, right? So that I can shove them in there and see the end of the roll.
Right.
And then I tie them or usually with a knit or a piece of scrap fabric
And
or
the
something.
pieces of fabric in there, we know, range from, they could be as small as maybe a yard or half a yard.
I don't think, oh no.
Nothing's
There's
that
nothing
small.
that's a half yard in there. I think everything's at least 3 yards in there or more.
Up to, we know that one piece of fabric we got out was 10 yards.
Yeah,
of
Mallory
this
got out a
fabric.
10-yard piece that I had bought.
If you're a Zigzag member, if you remember the live broadcast we did in the button-up month,
It had a gray and a black stripe and a little lurex,
We did-
metallic.
we did mini piping on
Yeah.
button-ups or how to insert
Right.
it into seams. And I got this fabric out because like, oh, it's a stripe. And then I was like, this is my realization as I go through this fabric. This is cool. This is a black and white and metallic silver stripe, like a
I think it has
pinstripe.
gray in it too, doesn't
Kind
it?
of gray
Whatever,
a little bit. But I
whatever.
think that's on like this where the silver
Oh,
is.
is that where the silver is?
Gee, this is neat, a neat pattern. And then Sam and I are unrolling it. We're like, this is a stretch woven. It stretches on the cross grain. How cool. No, this has like spandex in it.
Right.
Okay. And then we're unrolling it and we're like, there's 10 yards of this because it was like 30.
The ticket was on it.
Yeah, the ticket was on it. You paid $3 a yard and you paid like.
I think I got it at a big box store that starts with a W. Yes.
Yeah. So you got so much of this fabric that it could be made into, made into a shirt dress with some pieces on the bias.
That's right.
Is what I was really excited about doing with it. But yeah, that fabric it's like the coolest stuff.
Yeah.
It's so neat.
So when you find cool fabric for $3, I bought
10 yards of it.
I bought $30 worth of it. So,
But it's not all stripes, I guess. It's black and white. So
no,
there's like
no,
some
it's not all
florals,
stripes.
There's
There
polka
is
dots.
I use a lot of black and white stripe.
Uh-huh.
Or I tended to at one time. I like to use it to. I would often, if I made something like a purse or a bag, I would often use it for the strapping or the piping or something like that. It would stop the eye.
Right.
So I'd have something very colorful, and then the black and white would stop the eye.
So sometimes people ask, oh, do you organize your fabric by type or by color or by this or by size? I think
Yes.
yeah, right. You know from like your
Right.
work, your
Right.
work, what I want to say,
It's
like
sort of organized by how I've used
how you
it or
use
worked.
it. Yeah,
right,
yeah. You're
right.
like, oh, I want to know where the black and white fabric is,
Right.
whether it is silk or poly
Right.
or stretch
Right.
woven or this or
Right.
that. You just want to know where the black and white
Right.
stuff is.
And there's some, there's that big home deck black and white there, and actually there's some over here. The bolts kind of got mixed up
Yeah,
when we
our-
moved. They aren't as organized as
the
they
way
used
that
to be.
I think we're gonna rearrange again.
Right.
Our filming space, we're gonna be able to move it hopefully
Right.
into a different room.
This will be part of the fabric library where we're sitting right now.
Yes. So let's talk about your home deck section.
It's there.
Yes, it's next to the black and white stripes.
Some of it's on bolts. Some of it is not. Some of it is samples from my favorite furniture store, where they used to call me up and say, "Hey, you want these samples?" And we used to get, the swatches from them.
Okay, if you know of a furniture store in your area and you make friends with them,
Or a decorator.
they may agree to give you their swatch books.
So what happens
you-
is every year they rotate those, and most of them wind up in a dumpster.
Okay, you need to be careful what you wish for when you
think?
when you are the
Yeah.
receptacle, the recipient
Right.
for these fabrics, because
Right.
we got a couple stores and a couple customers who would bring us these swatch books, and we had shelves and
Right.
shelves, and we would go through them, cut them up, and so what have those swatch books been ended up as? Purses,
Purses,
bags.
reed bags were some of them, I
some
think.
of them,
Weren't
guide class kits,
when Linda and Jane taught the guide class, they made those little
pin
pin
cushions.
cushion kits, and they would use those for those.
No, talk about reusing, and
Right,
upcycling or whatever.
Actually, I think I used part of them when I made Catherine's vest for being the rabbit in
I use them to make stockings,
Yep,
patchwork
Yep,
stockings.
we use that. Purses.
Because you might get a swatch of some fabric that's like a silk
Right.
woven
Right.
or like a digitally printed
Or
something.
just something
or,
that you really, just something that's really clever. Pillows, we made a lot of, or pillow
Yes.
backs.
Uh-huh.
Made a lot of just the pillow back where I made something else, or I had embroidery on the front or something like that. So they wound up being the back.
Right.
That was the dog beds.
Dog beds.
Always dog beds.
Lots of dog beds. and
Good dog
pillows.
beds.
So home deck, and we like to use home deck. Actually, I think this would be a fun like article in the zine or something. We really like to use like the chenille, the drapey chenille home deck as blankets.
As
Like we
throws.
Yeah,
what we
create
call
throws
throws,
out
right.
of them.
we make, I like a throw to be like 6 feet long, and then like the 45 or 53 wide, whatever the width is, and then I make it like 6 feet long.
And then you put cotton on the back,
And then
generally, right?
but usually it's a cotton home deck.
Home deck.
too. It's a lot of a chintz. And I don't put anything in the middle.
Right.
And I really like that weight because I like the cotton up against me, and I like the weightiness of it.
I have a throw like that downstairs
Right.
that I made it must have been
Now
like,
we pre-wash this stuff, and then so it can
yeah, you
go
put
in
it
the washer
in the washer
too.
and dryer. Yeah.
Right.
So that's like one of our favorite blankets to
Right.
make. Instead of, we don't like to quilt.
Right.
We don't want to like piece together stuff, but
Right.
sometimes you can get really cool home deck
And
fabric.
for some reason, I just don't like those fleece throws.
Really?
Anyway.
You don't say.
Yeah, I don't make a fleece throw.
Well, we skipped over the silk. Let's talk about the silk real
Oh, yeah,
quick.
that's silk. Because the reason we skipped over the silk
Yeah,
is
tell us.
because it's in cubes, like wire cubes, but it is covered by a fabric, by a white cover
Sheets, like,
sheet.
yeah.
Right. I don't think it's a sheet. It's something
No,
else.
sure, but
But it because we want it to get air, but we don't want it to get light or moisture.
that's right.
And so it's covered, and it says silk and a big sign on it so that we don't forget where it is, but we did skip
Look,
it.
Sam spelled silk wrong. No, I
Like,
didn't get it.
She didn't. Oh,
I
it's
just
like
want-
when
I
it's
just
like
wanna
no.
make her look
we
over
did
here.
have somebody work for us one time, and we were labeling things at the shop,
This is
and
funny.
we had a bunch of Poo Peony silk at the time because what were we making out of that? I don't know. We had
Yeah, why did we carry that? We carried
Poo Peony because we had a lot of silk projects. We were making a lot of purses. I know at that time. But anyway, she was not fabric savvy. And so she printed out the sign off the computer, and it said Poo Peony.
Silk Poo Peony.
So we had silk Poo Peony.
And then we thought we'd gotten it okay, so we kept the sign.
Right,
We
we
told
kept
her
the
about
sign.
it. We were like,
That's
this is hilarious. It says Poo Peony on it, and we thought it was so funny, so we hung it in the back. And then we had somebody new start working for us. And they saw the sign in the back.
Right.
They brought it out to the front and
That's
put it on
right.
the silk at one point because I think she had said like, "What's this stuff?" I was like, "Oh, that's silk Poo Peony," and and then she just like took it upon herself to like take that sign
And
from
put
the
it on
back
there.
and put it on there, and so it just got to be funny all over again. But yeah,
I think we still have the sign someplace.
silk Poo Peony. I think we do too.
Yes.
Okay, well, let's take a little break and let's get into some of the things that we store in tubs after the break. Okay.
Okay.
Taking a break.
Hey, Mal.
Hey, Mom.
I heard you were easy.
Oh no!
What does that mean?
No, it means I think what you really heard was, wow, Mallory, your easy tea looks so good on you.
Oh,
Yes.
I should have known that it was
You're-
something about something you made.
Like you said, you're getting into your golden years. Sometimes, mishearing things. It happens.
No, you're
right?
the one that mishears things. I know this. You make lapel pins about it.
Okay, so I am currently wearing an Easy Tee, and I wear them all the time. The Easy Tee is a semi-fitted, short-sleeve T-shirt made out of a woven fabric, and you draft the Easy Tee to fit your measurements by taking the Easy Tee class.
Well, how do I take this class?
It's an online class that you can watch anytime on SewHere.com. To purchase the class, go to SewHere.com/EasyT. That's just EASYT.
Is this on my computer?
It's on your computer. It's on your phone. It's on your iPad. The class is divided up into short, easily consumable segments, some of which you may not ever need to watch ever again, but some of which you might want to revisit. So you have the ability to mark lessons as completed and also to star lessons so you can go back and revisit the ones that are most important to you.
And I can vouch, Mallory's Easy Tea is a lot easier than Mallory is.
Once again, go to sewhere.com/easytea to begin your pattern drafting journey. Sewing out loud. And we're back.
Oh, yes, we are.
All
in
right.
our sea of fabric.
Our sea of fabric. Okay, I'm gonna go away from the microphone and I'm gonna look at some tubs and like hold them up.
Okay.
And you'll have
And
to
some
be
of
like,
those tubs are not permanent tubs. They became tubs because we moved.
that's right.
Right.
So I just want to point to some tubs and you need to be like, oh, this says this and talk about them a little bit. Okay. So
oh my gosh,
give
it's
me
like
a
a
moment.
test.
Give me a moment. Tubs that aren't labeled.
Well, I know that bottom tub is silk, but that we brought from the shop
Oh yeah.
that never has not gotten incorporated into the silk. Now, what we actually call like the shelving we have is we call it our stacks, just like in a library.
Yeah.
We say, go to the silk stack, go to the knit stack or whatever. Those are tubs. That one tub right there is satin back crepe or crepe back satin, depending on how you were taught to call it, right?
Yeah.
And it just so happened that I was using a lot of that at one time when I was doing couture gowns for people. And I started working out of that tub. And it stayed there.
So it's a poly product.
Yes.
And when it's in the tub, it does fine.
Yes. Now, I go around and I'll open these tubs and let them breathe occasionally.
Right.
Kind of bothers me that,
So what have we used the crepe back satin back crepe for recently?
we did
Kimonos.
Kimonos. That's what we did the trim on the kimonos with.
Absolutely.
And how much yardage do you think we got in there?
Oh, there's got to be 50.
I would say easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some of the rolls, it's like, it's always really fun to go around in the studio. And so you're looking in the satin bin.
Right.
And you're like, okay, oh, I love that purple color. And then it's like, are you going to take it out and there's going to be like 3 yards or there's going to be like 10 yards?
Right,
which is it going to be?
right.
And then we sort of, this
And
doesn't.
sometimes there's scraps rolled up within it. So
That's
you
right.
don't know that you're getting these scrappy pieces.
So when people talk about organizing their fabric, using like Trello or something like that and knowing exactly how much yardage there is, for us, like the way our fabric library is developed, I don't think that really works because sometimes I'll get it out and be like, okay, well, this isn't enough satin for the body of the kimono.
Right.
So it's going to be the trim and I will choose a different for this and a da-da-da.
Well, I think if you remember,
this is
like
a pocket.
for Sam's kimono, for her and Nora, we actually got out 3 different ones. And, we were looking at the color first, and then we had to decide, was there enough
right.
to do, the 2 kimonos.
Yes.
Well, and I think the other thing is when someone talks about those programs or that,
Mm-hmm.
if we inventoried our fabric now, and say it was just the 2 of us doing it,
Right.
well, we'd have to put a year aside just to inventory the fabric.
It wouldn't be worth it to us.
We couldn't get anything else done.
Right.
I mean, and I guess the other thing is all that inventory would do for me is tell me like that I had it or where it was. And the way we have this organized, I know where to go to look to see where it is. Okay.
If I'm going to make this type of garment, I need to go to this area
Yes.
of the library
And so you
check it
can
out.
say, I have read, satin back crepe or crepe back satin, right? How do you describe what color red it is?
Right.
And how do you know that
I
red?
mean, and even if you take a picture,
yeah.
I think
So,
this could...
I always lay it out, but we are organized enough. We know where to go
Right.
and where to pull it from.
Now, I think that if you are using Trello and it's working for you, or you're using a
Right.
spreadsheet, like, keep doing it, But if you feel like...
And if you can keep up with it,
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah, keeping up with it is
But
another
if you
thing.
feel like, oh my gosh, I feel like that stuff doesn't work for me, that's okay too. There
Right.
are different ways to do it. So,
Some people cut swatches.
yeah, and put them in a book.
And put them in a book or whatever, or, some sort of organization where they have them behind plastic or whatever, however they do it. Now, there are some fabrics rolled up in here, And on them, there might be a tag that says pre-washed 3 yards.
Yeah.
There's a few things like that.
Right.
Not many, but a few. And I used to do that. Or I used to know that if it had a serged edge, it had been pre-washed.
Yeah.
That was sort of my code for it's been pre-washed. Mallory just pulled out a bin that has my striped fabric, my fancy striped fabric, because my fancy striped fabric is in a bin right now, and it's an open bin. It's not closed up, but it is things that are metallic or shiny, that sort of striped fabric. I have other striped fabric that is cotton, sort of quilting cotton type striped fabric, and that is in a drawer.
Okay, and then what about this bin?
That is the vinyl bin, and it's clear vinyl, and some of it is shower curtains because we couldn't find any vinyl at the time, or it's clear vinyl. And we use vinyl for lots of things, to line bags or to make clear bags or to make windows on something. What else have we used vinyl for?
I think about bags a lot with the vinyl.
Right,
I don't know.
I think of like
and pocket, like clear
cosmetic
pockets
bags.
and
Yeah,
stuff
I
like
do
that
too.
on bags.
Well, I think the other thing that we can mention is we actually, because vinyl made me think about this, we have some vinyl pockets and that were originally used when I had a bridal store.
Uh-huh.
And, we used to label the customer's name
Right.
and put it on their dress. And then we eventually used those in the sewing machine business. And that's how we labeled people's machines, and we put them on there with a chenille strip and tied it on, so to speak. And now we have our shelves labeled like that. So the vinyl sign says home deck, or the vinyl sign says knit, or, always stretch
or whatever.
Or whatever.
Oh, and I also...
Or shears, or...
Mom didn't mention this when I put this tub on the table.
I didn't. The other sequin tub.
Yeah, there's more sequins.
I said there's sequins in every corner of this place.
So there's...
That's not counting, this is sequin yardage. We're not even talking about, the sequins that are on a strip or sequin trim.
Sure,
We're
absolutely.
not talking about that.
So we have the sequin yardage that isn't on a bolt. So it's some smaller pieces.
They're also in that sequin. It's not just dot sequin. It's all kinds of sequin.
Yes, and there's that stretch sequin that we bought to make a ballroom dress for me.
Yes.
And then I ended up making my maternity fancy outfit.
There's sequin left over from other people's dresses and all kinds of sequins. I guess I don't throw any sequin fabric away.
Well, why would you, right? Yes.
Right. Well, there's a couple bolts of sequin over there, too, by the home deck.
And then on the other side of the studio...
In the true stacks, where it's just shelves.
Where it's just purely fabric. The fabric isn't sort of like...
So the shelves are about, 7 feet high? They're almost to the ceiling.
Yeah.
And there's 4 to 5 shelves on each one, and they're about, I think they are 4 feet wide and 15 inches deep or 14 inches deep.
No, they're wider than 4 feet. I thought they look like...
No, I think they're
4 feet?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so these are like industrial shelves that you can get at like a
big chrome industrial shelves. A lot of times
you put them together yourself.
You'll see them in a commercial kitchen a lot of times.
Right, and they're on wheels.
Right.
So we can move them if we
and
wanted
we have,
to.
Over and over and over and over again.
Now there's a flannel section.
There is a flannel section.
A baby flannel section.
Well, or all flannel, but it's mostly baby flannel.
Yeah.
And I used to make a lot of baby items, and a lot of baby blankets. You remember when we used to make a lot of those as gifts, too.
Yes, I do.
And I would do one side of the blanket would be flannel, and the other side oftentimes would be satin.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of times it had a black and white striped
bias
binding that was
that's right.
So you had that black and white stripe on the 45-degree angle, and and then we had the baby's name in the corner, or sometimes the birth date or whatever.
Yeah, whatever was available to us or whatever. Yeah, that was always
so
a hit.
That's high on a shelf, and there is a couple bolts of flannel and some other flannel and some scraps of flannel. Also up there, for some reason, because below it is more like quilting cottons, I would say,
Uh-huh.
or just general straight cottons, so to speak. We have, let me count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10 flat bolts of fabric up there that started out as 15-yard
Right.
put-ups.
Bolts.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I know that there happens to be some on the floor over there in a
In a box
in
as
a
well.
plastic box. Yeah.
Yeah,
a
and
couple
over there
more.
we've got wools as well on the
There's-
other
Wool
side.
has one good shelf. Yeah,
And we have our stretch knits over there.
we do.
Now, we can't see these right now. So I'm going to run over there real quick.
She's
And
running over to
I'm just
identify.
going to pull over a couple of them. I'm just going to show them to Mom, and you can tell me where they came from, okay?
Oh, I can tell you what section and how it's labeled in
No,
the.
like when you bought it.
Oh, when I bought it.
Or
When I
when
bought
you
it. Oh my
have it.
gosh. You think I should identify like time and place? Oh, well, that came from Stevens College, didn't it?
Yep.
You got that.
Yep, talk about that.
Yeah. What would you call that? It is a brocade, polyester, white and silver brocade.
Yes.
Lots of things. Okay. I'm waiting for you to pull something out. What I'm looking at right now is actually our tool section that I can see from this side. And we have all colors of tulle and everything. Okay, Mallory has holding up lace with some metallic in it. I don't know what that white one is. I can't see it well enough.
It's stretch netting with sequins on
Oh, stretching. So all of those things were from costuming, dance costuming, I believe. That was actually a dress I made for myself to go to someone's wedding that Mallory also wore to homecoming. And that was it's a metallic polyester with a metallic in it. It's a mauve color with a gold metallic in it. And that was actually home deck, Mallory.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. We have boas. Why did I have red and blue boas, or red and purple? What is that?
I don't know.
What would I have had those for? I don't remember. That had to be a show choir thing.
Yeah.
And then this is a knit, I believe, from Vogue. And it is a velvet knit with a gold lurex going through it.
Yeah, the lurex.
There should be 3 yards of that because I've never cut into it.
Yeah, so the over there is kind of where we go for our garment fabric. I think
Right.
like in the stacks a lot of times, over on that side of the studio. It's kind of where we
Well,
go to
most of our
hunt.
stuff is garment, I would say.
But
Yeah.
but that's also where most like the usable stuff. What do I want to say like by usable? It's just
It's
the
what
most
we
common.
use. It's what
Yeah.
we go to, right?
I guess I don't
Like our
always
go-to
like
stack.
run to the silk.
I have a couple
know?
pieces of mud cloth up there that actually, if everybody knows what that is, it's an African type fabric, and Wynn gave those to me.
Yeah. And so we've got lace over there as well. There's
Right,
a bunch
lace
of
yardage
sheer lace.
and lace. Actually, on a bottom shelf over there is a lot of home deck trim, which is lots of fringe and stuff and cording,
All
and,
sorts of things
Yeah,
over there. So yeah, those are the stacks. And then we have some knits over yonder that have not been like categorized
I've been
yet.
recategorizing them actually.
Okay, so tell us
Yes,
about your
I separated out the knits. At one time, all the knits were together.
Uh-huh.
And now I've separated out knits to, a 2-way stretch and a 4-way stretch knit. So
Yes.
because when you go, you really need that is a significant difference when you go to make a garment.
Right. You need to know if it
At
stretches
one time, I
always.
had lycra in its own section
Right.
because I didn't have that much lycra. Now I've got lycra coming out of my ears.
Yeah, now we have a ton. So your
Right.
fabric library might evolve over time
Well,
too.
or the space that you use for a particular category changes. I don't collect dot sequin quite as often
Right. Anymore. Yeah.
currently. There's a section with fur in it that's over here by the silks. That's left over from costuming.
Well, and there's a bunch of like lace and sheer fabrics.
Uh-huh.
And
I do have shears.
I feel like that is a lot of costuming as well.
Yes.
It's not a lot of stuff that we use in our everyday.
not
sewing.
right. And I used to use that every day because I costumed every day.
Well, and actually,
Right.
it's really,
and I did a lot of special occasion
Right.
Yeah.
It's actually, lace is so hot right now. I should just like sew up some
Go
of
it
that
again.
stuff.
Right,
You know, it's
right.
just, it's cool to use
Absolutely.
as outerwear and everything like that. So yeah,
And then there's a section over there with the stuff that we sell.
yes,
Or
some of the
used to- or
fabric
at
we
least
sell.
used to sell.
Yeah, some of the fabric we
Yeah.
sell or used to
But the
sell.
cotton
less-
organdy and the
There's no cotton organdy over there right
the
now.
the mesh. It's where the cotton organdy belongs.
Where it would be.
Right. The mesh, and there's some few.
I know Rachel's listening. and
There's
she's like, "You have
some
cotton
denim
organdy?"
left over.
Yeah, a little bit of denim for personal use and some
Right.
things like that. So yeah, there's a ton of fabric here. And I just want everybody to know that we sort of organize it in terms of its
Usage almost.
usage
Yes.
more than really any other.
I knew someone
Qualifier.
that worked for Martha Stewart.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And their studio, their fabric library, was organized by color. And I thought it was the dumbest thing I ever heard.
Well, if they have all the same type of fabric.
but can you believe it was all the same? Well, yeah, if I had all quilting cotton, I would do
Yeah.
it. But do you think Martha Stewart had just cotton?
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't think
So,
she makes clothes.
If you're a quilter, if I had a quilting section,
yes.
yes, I'd have it by color.
Right, right.
But if I have all these different, I wouldn't put like a sheer red with the poly whatever red with a stretch red with a.
That wouldn't serve our purposes.
Yeah, I would just be confusing.
Well, this
I would
is-
think what would bother me is I would think, oh, I probably have a stretch red, and it wouldn't be.
That kind of, I think, goes with a big, what do I want to say, concept that we have tried to drive home over and over again on this podcast, is that the character of the pattern and the way the pattern is drafted is
for a certain type of
highly
fabric.
dependent on the type of fabric. So we're kind of going for fabric character.
Right.
I mean, I know you do have that.
Well, I
Area
think
that's all the
the other
black and
thing
white
that we
stripes.
also try and drive home to people is do what works for you.
Right.
Okay, organization. When someone says I need to organize my fabric, not everyone's fabric needs to be organized the same way.
Right.
Especially like when we say organize it by usage, maybe that's sort of the best way to coin it, because if you're a quilter, you may be organizing one way. If you're a garment sewer, you may be organizing another. If you sew for other people, you may be organizing it another way.
Mhm.
If you make costumes, I used to have all the costuming fabric in one section,
Right.
which meant most of the crappy fabric, or
Right.
or fabric that maybe I bought thinking this would work for costumes.
Right.
You know, and I had it in that section. I wasn't planning on making myself a garment out of the costume fabric.
Right. So organize. I think if people are, or if you have a big quilting stash, the thing about quilting fabric is it is mostly the same or very similar substrate.
Well,
right.
I mean, we're talking about people that are quilting with cotton.
Yeah.
You know, there are people who do art quilts.
Sure,
that
no,
they're
yeah.
not worried about the fabric
No,
content.
I'm not talking about that.
Right.
But yeah, so if you do want to organize your quilting area by color, I think that makes sense. But yeah, just think about how you're using fabrics, or we have an area that's like linings.
Yep.
As
we
well.
have all the linings in one place. We do have an interfacing area,
Yes.
and then we have a stabilizing area.
Yep.
And then we have thread areas, and we have different thread areas. We have
Well, yeah, we won't talk
Yeah,
about that.
yeah.
That's a different podcast.
Right. Okay. We won't
Yes.
talk about that. We're
No,
not
but
talking about
but I think you're right. Our threads are arranged by usage.
yes,
It's not like all the purple serger in construction and stretch.
right. Not
and
all the
embroidery
purple
thread
threads are together.
No.
They're very much organized like our fabric.
By
how we use
utility.
it. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, well, we will try to snap a bunch of pics of the fabric library and put them up in the show notes for you at sewhere.com. You can get a hold of us via email at mallory@sewhere.com. We are at Zede Sewing Studio on Instagram. And Mom?
So long and so happy.
Thanks for listening to Sewing Out Loud. For even more expert sewing advice, visit sewhere.com.